Well, great, I'm in space. Well, wherever this space may be, do the laws of nature apply here at all? Who knows? Well, while I'm stuck here, I can very well go on with my study. What was next? Oh yes, I remember. When I was looking for something for Destination Moon before I went down in the basement, there was this file with an image of planet Earth, and I thought it might be the right one. But it wasn't. It was too early. It contained papers about the calculus affair. Well, but now the time is right. So let's take a look at the calculus affair. In the mid-1950s, Hergé returned to the single-volume adventure, and he should stick with it. In the meantime, he had his own studio and began to make full use of its possibilities. So far, he first made the drawings in pencil and then transferred them to ink. Then they were colored. Now he could try out different techniques and perspectives, just like in the cinema. And the latest adventure should look like from the cinema. At Marlinspike Hall, glasses break for no apparent reason, and on a thunderstorm night, strange figures are strolling around the park. This comes to an abrupt end after Calculus left for a congress in Geneva. Tintin suspects a connection, and he and Haddock investigate in Calculus' laboratory. They find a huge apparatus that show that the professor was working on an experiment with ultrasound. They come across a Bordurian spy and realize that Calculus is in danger. They follow him to Geneva and get into a conflict between agents from Syldavia and Borduria. Well, before we start, two things that are not entirely consistent. First, it is not clear why Calculus is doing these experiments with ultrasound. During Destination Moon, he was proud to use nuclear power for a peaceful purpose. But what peaceful purpose should his ultrasound gun serve? And second, Syldavia is portrayed in this volume as rather villainous, although it was the exact opposite in the Moon adventure. But that's enough for the negative. The Calculus Affair is a coherent Hitchcock-style agent story, in which Hergé again is mixing then current reality with fictional elements. The conflict between Syldavia and an apparently communist Borduria reflects the Cold War, under which influence the story was created. The studio's possibilities greatly fit with Hergé's sense of perfectionism, and for this story he even went so far as to look for locations in Geneva. The hotel where Calculus stays exists just like the villa that was the model for the Bordurian embassy. Even the spot where the car of Tintin and Haddock gets off-road and falls into Lake Geneva exists. You can go there and see those places. But if you plan to stay at Calculus's hotel, well, take the big bag with you. It's in Geneva's central city near some interesting places, but the rates for the rooms are really high. In the story, two new characters are introduced which will appear again in later books. The first one is Colonel Sponge, and yes, his name really comes from sponge, which is also a Brussels dialect word. He is the head of the Bordurian Secret Service. The other one is the intrusive insurance agent Joylan Wag. With him, Hergé created a character that probably every one of us knows. A person so annoying it hurts, whose mouth simply cannot stand still, and who is therefore naturally predestined for the job of an insurance salesman. Because, of course, one always wishes that he goes away as quickly as possible, and therefore one is tempted to buy anything he offers. Wag doesn't even accept the no as an answer when Haddock, annoyed, informs him that he's insured against everything. He just says, well, I'll make the papers ready, see you soon. Also introduced in this story is Katz the Butcher, although we mostly hear from him via telephone. This is due to the fact that the butchery has a very similar telephone number to that of Marlinspike Hall. So people get the number wrong and end up in Marlinspike Hall ordering, well, meat. And in reverse, if somebody from Marlinspike Halls try to dial a number in haste, they often end up accidentally calling the butchery. Katz the Butcher is someone who we will also see again in future stories. And Hergé introduces another element in the story that probably arose from his own situation. Captain Haddock is explaining in the opening sequence that he's having enough of all this adventure and all he wants is to stay at home and have peace. This resonates with the feeling that Hergé had himself. Sometimes he felt completely absorbed by his own creation and all he wanted was peace and quietness. In the following stories, Haddock will express the desire for rest and peace several times and then go into a new adventure anyway. This is brought to extremes in Tintin in Tibet, but we'll get to that. The Calculus Affair is an exciting story before the background of the East-West conflict, and it shows how well Hergé's adventures work when they are fictional but rooted in reality.
Whoa! Things are heating up here. I guess I'm about to land. But where?